Hello and welcome everybody to our podcast. This is Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses in to talk about what they're doing in the community, what they are up to. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yeah, and we are so excited about our episode today. Today we are welcoming in Kelly Harper from the Collective and Harper Photography.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Super
Kelly?
excited to be here.
Awesome. And I love that you've listened to our podcast. So that should be kind of neat. So tell us more about, obviously the photography, but I think you do some other really interesting things. So I'm excited to really just get down to the bottom of all of this.
So, how I started in photography?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we can start with that.
I should say that I'm a full-time CPA still. I'm a financial controller for a local aviation company. So that keeps me busy full-time. And I got into photography when I passed my CPA exam, and the firm that I work for gave us a bonus, and I used that to buy my first DSLR camera.
Wow.
Good for you.
And started it as a hobby, taking photos of friends, children, and stuff like that. And then I offered to do senior photos for a friend who was having a hard time affording senior photos because they can be expensive. And her reaction when I delivered her son's photos, I'm like, how do I continue to give like this?
Yeah.
And prayed about it and really felt called to offer free photography to the pregnancy center. Underserved mothers who might be facing an unexpected pregnancy, they might not be thinking about professional photography.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a business though. So I'm like, these people are gonna be like, who's gonna trust this crazy lady to take photos of their new babies or maternity photos, whatever. So that's how Harper Photography was born. I got the LLC. Being in business really helped me structure the business and know kind of how to navigate getting a tax ID number and all of that.
Yeah.
Built the website out, and I'm still doing that today, still offering the free services at the pregnancy center. But it's I'm a wedding photographer now. So those clients really help me, the paying clients. I still do families and seniors, but they allow me to continue to give in that way.
Right. And I love that whole pay it forward kind of thought process. And here, these are people that you're right, that they need to be lifted up and they need to be taken care of.
Right.
And in that you're making a difference there. And that's just fabulous.
And the calls are far and few between from people who call me that are clients of the pregnancy center. But every time I get one, I'm just so excited to snap the pictures of their babies, or I'll do your cake smashes with them, or anything in the first year of life. I'm willing to do a free photo shoot and deliver those photos for free.
That's awesome.
And the reactions you get from those people just must be so fulfilling.
It really is. And it's not something I talk about a lot, but I was just kind of letting you guys know how Harper Photography was born. But like I said, it's not something I talk about regularly or post on social media, or, it's just something I do behind the scenes.
Exactly. Everybody has such a story,
right?
And it's so robust, and it's so neat that here you have this background that brought you to photography, and here you're doing the wedding photos. And
I love wedding and event photography is now my jam. I love it.
Cool.
And I had my first DSLR camera, and then I was able to, through my paying clients, upgrade all my gear. And now, I feel like I have the top of the line stuff that I really enjoy using, but top of the line equipment doesn't make you a good photographer. So it was really good to practice on that first cheaper camera that I had.
It's not a cheap field to get into either. I mean, cameras are expensive.
Right. They can be. But I told people, I started with a very cheap entry level camera and lens, and people still paid me for those pictures. So it's all about knowing how to compose a good photo, and lighting and posing, and interacting with your clients and not being awkward and making them feel comfortable. That's all part of the whole experience.
Right.
Exactly. Makes a difference.
Yeah. And I find, we have our digital cameras right in our phones now, and the cameras in the phones are getting so much better and such.
Really good.
But again, it's how you take the picture. So we all have the cameras and everything, but we still need professional for, all of these things, because it's not only the pictures are taken, but the experience of it as well.
Right, exactly. And bringing back that memory of being there to take the pictures and all that.
Yeah.
And if I always ask my, bridal clients, one question I like to ask them at the end of a consultation is, why are you hiring a professional? Why don't you just crowdsource it to your friends and family and let them take all the phones on an iPhone? And it's because it's not the same. Right?
Exactly. It's good that they recognize that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So neat. Cool. Yeah. So in terms of the collective, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So that was born also out of my photography business. I had gone to a couple like different studios that are rentable in Michigan. None of them were really close by. There's one in Royal Oak that I've used. I know of one in Plymouth. But I really wanted my own space. I am a resident of the Brighton Lighthouse, and I used them for a long period of time, and I'm still using them, especially their backyard. Like
it's so beautiful.
Who wouldn't want pictures in their backyard? But I'm like, I really want my own space. And I was thinking about it over the weekend, and that Monday, I got stopped by a train on Michigan Avenue in downtown Howell. I looked over to my right, and there was a for rent sign on a storefront, and it was a cute little storefront. So called the number, and I was agreeing to the lease terms by the end of the week. And my landlord told me they'd just put the sign in the window that day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it happened really fast. Not a lot of business planning there. I mean, I did go home and like crunch the numbers and talk to my husband, who at first was like, what are you trying to do? When I was explaining the concept of it being a rentable studio for other photographers and then a micro event space, he kind of didn't get it, but he trusted me 100% and was super supportive. Awesome. And like, he's my biggest cheerleader. So couldn't do any of it without him.
That's critically important.
Yes.
When you're in business, you need a partner that can be there for you.
Yeah. So I got the keys, and because I work full time, it took me 2 months to build the whole space out and get it the way I want it to look, painting, redoing the ceiling and some other things in the space. And then we had our grand opening on November 1st, which was a lot of fun.
How neat.
That is awesome. Yeah. And I'm assuming for photographers, a lot of photographers finding that studio space is one of the most difficult things, right?
It was difficult for me when I started, and I really ran into the challenge of a lot of people want outdoor photos, which I still offer. But when you come into bad weather and they can't reschedule, it's like, okay, well, what do we do now? What's plan B? Or when you have real little ones, you don't want them outside. You want them, in an environment that's controlled and all that for photos.
Right. Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And since I work full time still, I'm like, this space is going to sit empty all the time. And I really wish a place like this existed when I started. The Brighton Lighthouse was great, but it's not designed with a photographer in mind. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what will this do for other photographers starting out? I'm all about community over competition. And when other photographers come in and take pictures and give them to me, I'm all about promoting them and making sure they get credit where credit's due. And
that's fantastic to have that collaborative experience, basically, instead of certain businesses that are just kind of.
The photography business can be very like that.
Yeah.
People don't want to share their location secrets, and they don't want to share any secrets, but I'm all about building other people up. And I wish a place like this existed locally when I started.
Right.
Right. Now, for those photographers out there, do they bring in their own lighting equipment and everything, or do you have like lights there?
So some photographers do choose to bring in their own strobes or off-camera flashes. I do provide one continuous light that they can use. It's not a strobe. It's pretty cheap light off of Amazon, but it's there and available to them if they want it.
Got you.
Neat.
Yeah.
No, that is really cool.
But lots of props and backdrops and all of that's available to them, different flooring options, and they can make the space their own.
Cool. So maybe some of the people that are out there that have been wanting to dabble in photography, but they just don't even know where to start, this might be a really good resource.
Yes, a really good space.
Yeah. And so it's local, it's right in Howell. And that's just awesome.
And one of the things I didn't think about when I was on your website is that whole digital creator piece that you kind of mentioned in there about someone being able to come in to do their reels or their YouTube shorts or those types of things.
Yep. And I've had a local boutique, an online boutique, but she's local. She's come in twice now to shoot collection photos for collections she was launching, and did the whole thing too, content creation and reels and all that in the space.
How cool.
Yeah. So there's many uses for it outside of just that traditional photography or family photos that, a lot of people think of when you think of a studio.
Right. And I think you had touched on kind of event
Yeah, so
space too.
It is an event space too. So it is 1,000 square foot open space. So if it's not being used for photography, people can rent it for showers, birthday parties. We had Livco's launch party there a few weeks ago, which is a new women's networking group. Lots of workshops have taken place. They've all sold out. We've done a charcuterie. We've done a wreath workshop, a mixology workshop with Cloud9 bartending, which was probably my favorite event so far. Jill Reed from Reed & Co. decorated the whole space for Valentine's Day, and it was like a Galentine's Day thing. It was just so fun. We have a CirrusNet who's going to be planning to do a headshot happy hour with a photographer that's in their group, hopefully coming up this month. I have the Downtown Howell group is going to be meeting there once next month as well. So there's lots of different uses for the space.
How cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really
I provide up to 10 tables and 40 chairs. So
wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's good. And that again, it's so hard to find even a rental space for things. You know, there's places that you can go, you're like, oh, well, I want a shower there. Well, you have to buy the food that they have.
Right.
Or, you know, it just offers a lot of versatility is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So I call us like the Goldilocks space. It's an event that's maybe not big enough for a banquet hall, or you want to do it yourself. You know, where banquet halls sometimes require you have a 50-person minimum and you have to order their food and so much alcohol has to be purchased or whatever. It's for events smaller than 40. So something that's probably too big for your house or you don't want to prepare your house for. That's the type of events that are happening. And they can do full service catering. I have VIP vendors listed on my website, but they don't have to. They could do potluck style if they wanted as well.
So bring the stuff in themselves. I mean, to have that flexibility is huge.
Yes. I had a local church that's rented the space 3 times now. So they keep coming back, which means we're doing something right.
There you go. Now, how booked up does it get? Do people have to really log on, you know, so many weeks or months in advance?
Well, the good news right now is we just opened on November 1st. So we still have a lot more flexibility with that. People are booking maybe 3 months in advance, but I have booked one 2025 event already. Wow. So I think as people learn about us, you might need to book a little sooner, but as of right now, we've got some flexibility in if it's last minute or not.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you're locked into a specific date, then plan ahead and plan early.
Right. So like right now, June and May, if you want a date in June and May, you're probably not going to get it. So
we're working. My sister and I are working on, and cousin anyway, doing a baby shower in town. So unfortunately we couldn't have it out here, but so much of this rings true because trying to find a space and these restaurants and what they require, and it's such a headache. Like I wish we could have done it out here. Have a lot more flexibility.
What I love is that VIP vendor list, because so often when you're planning something, you have no idea where to start. It's like, okay, I have a space, but where am I going to get food? Or like the Cloud9 bartending. A lot of people don't know that they exist to come in and do that kind of stuff. And you giving a platform for those, you're helping out those other small businesses, but you're also helping out the person coming in to rent a space to say, hey, here's where you get started.
Yep. Here's where, and all of the people on my VIP vendor list I've worked with before. I can vouch for them. They're some of my favorite vendors in the area. So
very cool. Yeah. I'm getting ideas for client appreciation events.
Yeah. There you go.
We do a lot downtown over at the theater and whatnot too. And
I did have a realtor reach out to me about doing Santa photos as a client appreciation event last Christmas. It didn't work out, so maybe next Christmas or any other realtors that want to do that.
Exactly.
But Santa G, who's local, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's the best Santa ever. We did have him in the studio and did a day for photos with Santa, which was really nice because it's like you don't have to go to the mall and stand in line. Like people, it was first come, first serve. They just came in. They had a little bit more intimate time with Santa. It wasn't rushed, you know, and I got some really cute, candid moments of the kids interacting with Santa. I loved it.
That is so cool.
Very fun. Yeah, because you're hitting on all cylinders. It's not just the experience, but the photos of it. So that way to have those memories captured.
Yeah.
Very neat. Cool. Now, what are some of the other, is there anything that's like some of the unique events now? Because I'm wondering, because you've pretty much just opened, but it seems like the sky's the limit. There's
it really
anything
is.
You could do.
So Jill Reed from Reed & Co., like I mentioned before, she's hosting a tea party in May, Mother's Day weekend. It's on Saturday, so it's not on Mother's Day, but it's for women. And she has a real British chef, Chef Michael J., coming in and there's 2 seatings, so you can come at 11 or you can come at 2. and it's just a tea party experience catered by, like, he served the royals.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So that's really
gosh.
fun. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah. Oh, how neat.
So we keep, like, leave the kids at home, leave the husband at home, come out with your girlfriends. You don't have to be a mom to come either. Just come and enjoy a ladies' afternoon out, get dressed up in your tea attire. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like in downtown, how there's, enough, parking around in different spaces, and especially as the weather's nice.
yeah. And I got lucky with my location. So I'm not on the main drag of Grand River. I'm on South Michigan Avenue, next to Retro Go-Go and Soneticore. And there's Casa de Bella on that strip too. And if you think about those businesses, they're normal business hour businesses. So by the time there's an event happening on the weekends or after hours, like, parking's cleared out. So you can park right on the road out front. Washington Street has road parking as well. And then those 4 lots are close walking distance as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. So that makes it easier on that.
I don't think people ever have a problem parking.
There you go.
And you think with it, like, having street parking, nobody wants to parallel park, but normally you don't have to. You just pull right up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it great.
Yeah.
And then in terms of some of the events in downtown Howell, I mean, that's a neat part because you're right there in the thick of things.
Yes.
Even in terms of Michigan Avenue, I mean, that's still.
So we got the keys on September 1st. We didn't have our grand opening until November 1st, but I did, like, a soft launch open house for Witches Night.
Ooh.
And I mean, I was only there for 3 weeks. So it was hard to get the word out and have people come down that way. But because KB Events was there, who's very tuned into the community, a lot of people actually showed up, and I had a couple vendors pop up. There was, she's like a rock healer. She was there. So that's really fun for Witches Night, right?
Yeah.
There was a permanent jewelry person there. And yeah, so that was really nice just to get people in the door and be like, what is this? The space wasn't finished, and I was kind of embarrassed for people to see it in that shape. But I just told them, I'm like, it's a work in process, but we're coming.
Yeah.
And then for Fantasy of Lights, I had a warming station. I said, come on in, get hot cocoa, use the bathroom.
Oh, that's
Wow.
nice.
And just, again, it was just a marketing to get people in the door. One person came in and they're like, where am I? What is this? You know what I mean? And I got
Right.
to tell them
Yeah.
all about the Collective and what
and
it was
that's the
about.
amazing thing for downtown Howell. They have some key events that are so huge. Fantasy of Lights brings in so many people. Same thing with Witches Night. I've driven through on Witches Night, and it always shocks me out. And you've attended, yes.
Oh, that's
It's
a
a
fun
fun-
event. Everybody gets all dressed up. It's like, holy cow.
And so this is our first year. We haven't experienced every event yet, like Melon
Yeah,
Fest,
that's
but,
gonna be big.
planning some fun things for that as well.
Yes.
How fun. Because event planning, that's, it's kind of my cup of tea. I
Yeah.
really love event
I
planning,
do love event planning, but it's really nice because I do rely on my VIP vendors a lot. Like, I'm like, I want to host a mixology class. Miranda, come help me do that. Jill, I don't want to decorate. Come help me do that,
Yeah.
So they're the ones that really make me look good right now. Because it's like, I don't want to make another decision. Just come and do it for me.
Yeah. Well, you're
Right.
hiring professionals,
Right,
right?
exactly.
And certainly, in real estate, we were always really good photo takers, right? But it's once we hired professional home photographers that our listings really.
Which is
ma-
a different beast altogether.
It makes all the difference in the world, though.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, with you still working full time, how do you find the time?
That's a question I get all the time. And I'm not saying that people with kids can't do it all, because they can. And I've seen some women and men and families really strive with children and succeed. But I don't have kids. So that kind of makes it easier. And my husband, he works 2 jobs, sometimes 3. So he's not always home on nights and weekends. And it really allows me that flexibility. And I block time, like, this is the night of the week I work on photo editing, and this is the night of the week that I show potential clients the Collective. Like, if you want to see the Collective, it's Wednesday night after 6. You can come by and I can show it to you. So I'm just really good about setting those boundaries and blocking time and keeping everything separate.
Being organized.
Yes.
Is a
Oh my
really
gosh. Yes.
critical element to all of it.
Mm-hmm. So if you are sending an inquiry and you don't get an email back from me until like 9 o'clock at night, because that's when I'm blocking the time to respond to inquiries.
Right.
Good for you. That's not ezy to do
Yeah. And
whatsoever.
the other question that everyone asks is if I plan on quitting my job eventually. And the answer, I love what I do. So I don't imagine myself quitting that job either.
Yeah. And you're able to balance everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even necessary.
For now.
For now.
And I think when I can't balance everything anymore. It's like, okay, that's when I hire things out.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And I'm a huge proponent. If you can hire something out, do it.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference.
It does.
Well, and it's nice in the photography. I'm assuming, you have your senior photo season, and then that ends, and then you have your wedding season. That's a different time of the year.
Correct.
Not that things don't overlap, but it gives you that ability to be like, I'm in this space right now, and then I'm in this space.
Yeah. I will say fall is the busiest time probably for most wedding, senior, and family photographers because everyone wants the fall foliage, right?
Yeah.
And then you go right into Christmas, and then everyone wants their Christmas card photos as well. So most of us are like, by January, we're like, please, nobody call me. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to sit here and do nothing. But then you're like, why is nobody calling me? And it's like, well, because they just came off of Christmas too. And then, by February or March, things are picking up again and the inquiries are coming back in.
Yeah. And that's got to be unique too, because like with fall foliage or even with like spring flower photos, it's like you have this in Michigan, you have this small window, right? Like, oh, everything is orange and red. Here's my 2 weeks.
Right. Move. And it's the same thing as everyone wants sunflower photos.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that you can't get sunflower photos all year. It's like there's this like 2 week window in August or September, and that's your sunflower. And it's always different every year too,
Right. So you can't pre-book it.
Right.
And then like you said before, with having the space, the weather of being able to go out and do those things.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, no, I mean, time blocking and flexibility on your part has got to be a huge part of that.
Right. And still finding time to, have that work-life balance and, foster my relationships at church and with my husband and friends and family. Like, I think I do a pretty even job of it. And I'm not an anxious person either. I'm kind of like a stress-free type B person. So that really helps too, because I never get real anxious about anything.
That makes sense, because at least if you have that ability to go with the flow, then it allows you to make those necessary changes.
Right. And be flexible and pivot.
Yes.
So
definitely all about the pivot, right?
Yep.
I think that probably is the one word for small business owners that is going to determine your ability to have success.
Yep. So I was going to say, because I know you said at the beginning what you love is the wedding photography right now, right?
Right.
So how does that process work for somebody? They want a photographer for their wedding. Is there, you sit down with them, is there different packages? It's been 25 years for us, so I have no idea.
25.
24.
It'll be 24 in June. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
I took a couple different approaches early on, and I found what works best for me is I offer one all-inclusive package. It takes out all of the guesswork for the clients. There's no secret add-ons. It's not, this is my price, but if you want an extra hour and if you want an album, then all of this, it's like, nope, this is the price. You get everything. You get a second shooter. You get the album. And I would say I'm probably more, I wouldn't say I'm a luxury photographer, but I'm probably more on the higher end budget range. And all of my prices are online. I don't want anyone to have sticker shock. So people come and see it. They book a consultation. I normally will spend like maybe 10 or 15 minutes on the phone with them after they book a consultation, and then meet with them in person. And I really want to get to know about them, right? Like, I'm making sure I'm a good fit for them. And I might not be the right fit for everybody, So I think it's really important to spend that time and get to know each other. It's not just about, are the photos pretty? It's like, you're going to be spending 8 hours with these people. Like, a bride's going to be with me more than she's with her husband, more than she's with her mom. Like, I'm going to be there the whole time. So do you like me? Can you spend a whole day with me? So
that makes sense. And I think a big part of it then would be managing expectations. So that way she knows what you're about, you know what she's about, and you guys will be able to set it up to have the best possible experience.
And I offer a free engagement session with all of my clients. I find a lot of times they got an engagement session really early on in their engagement, but I'm like, please still take advantage of this because it gives you time to work with me, right? Yeah. You kind of get to know my posing process. You get comfortable in front of my camera. You kind of know what it's like. So I always encourage them to take advantage of that free engagement session. And then as the wedding gets closer, like a month before, I send them like a final questionnaire, like, who are all of your vendors? Who are the important people? What's your bridal party's names? And all of that. And then I'll have another follow-up call with them and help them with their timeline. And if there's a videographer or a wedding coordinator, I make sure I, communicate with those people as well.
Yeah, because that's just a lot of coordination and everything anyway. Yes. So it's good that you're...
But I like to... I'm not a control freak. I don't want you to think that. But I do really like to hone the importance of the timeline with the bride and groom myself, because I know, doing this for as long as I have and being at so many weddings, planning a wedding myself, like how long these things take. Like you think you can get all your family photos in 10 minutes. That's probably, not going to happen.
Right.
So I really guide them on that. And like, what time is the sun setting? Do you want sunset photos? A lot of people do, that special golden hour, and making sure that that's all planned out. But I'm not that much of a control freak that the day of the wedding, if things always go off schedule and we pivot again and we build the room and the timeline for those things to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then, so in terms of those packages, they include an album. Mm-hmm. Do they get, kind of the digital copies for socials and all that?
Yes. My packages include all the digitals.
Okay.
So normally a typical wedding, somewhere between 800 and 1,200 photos.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, we do not have that many photos.
No, well, but it was a long time ago.
We were in the era that you still had the cameras that you...
Well, with film, it was a lot different, right? Like with the technology that we have today, you can see right away if a photo was bad, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before you had to wait until you developed it, and there's only 36 shots on a roll of film, so you have to change the roll every 36 shots. I'm like, if they still did it that way, I probably wouldn't be a photographer, because technology has made it the workflow a lot more efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. Better quality.
Yeah. Even the AI now today, it's amazing what these programs can do.
Crazy. And then what about like senior photos, and could you say with graduates and
so same thing. I offer just like one package, like it's a 90-minute package. We can pick 3 locations.
Nice.
And then they get 2 like framed prints. And then if they want additional prints,
then
I will guide them on a really good printer and let them do it themselves. I offered prints early on, and it became a real headache
then, yeah.
Not to say that my clients aren't great, because they are, but doing the prints became
a lot of details.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm like, I can send you to the right printer and help you with that selection and all of that. But my package just comes with 2 framed prints.
Right.
No,
well, again, it makes it simple for them, though.
Right. And then they can buy as many or as little photos as they want, right? They're not like, I'm stuck with 200 wallets that I don't know if seniors still do wallets. In my experience in the years that I've been doing this, I don't think that they do.
No, that has all changed so much,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember being in high school and you had to handed the wallets
you
out
handed
to
them out
everybody?
and people signed them, and yes, it was a very big deal.
Your little name and year in the bottom corner in gold.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, back in our day.
I found my senior photos recently, and I'm like, oh man, how times changed.
They really do.
The seniors I take photos of now are way cooler than I was. I'll just say that.
Go.
The kids today in general just are.
Right.
Oh my gosh, they've figured a lot of it out. So very cool. And then in terms of how people can get a hold of you, like what's the...
Okay, so to get a hold of the collective, the email address is info@collectivehowell.com. The website's collectivehowell.com. You can find a lot of information there on, like I said, I like to be transparent about everything. So the prices, what's included. I have somebody coming this week to take a virtual tour of the space. So pretty soon people will be able to tour the space virtually on the website as well. There is a gallery there, or it's a blog, but I call it a gallery of all the past events. So if you want to see what a bridal shower looked like, or a first birthday, or any of the events that we've had, a workshop, you can go there and get inspired. And on the socials, it's Collective Howell on Facebook and on Instagram. So that's where you can find us. Instagram is probably got a lot more posting than Facebook does. But I post different things on both sites are meant for different reasons,
there
right?
You go,
so
right.
I post different things on both places.
You're doing it right.
Yeah. And gear the Facebook post towards like one type of audience and the Instagram post towards a different. And then for Harper Photography, it is harperphotography.us is the website. And again, that's info@harperphotography.us. And my socials are the same, Harper Photography US. So
very good.
Awesome.
And we'll be sure to put it in the show notes too, so people can reference that. But this is great. And then the actual storefront is located on Michigan Avenue in downtown downtown Howell. I have to make sure I know what city I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Downtown Howell there. And
right next to Retro Go-Go.
Right next,
across the street from, there's the little Irish shop there that's kind of across from you as well.
Yeah, and across from the laundromat, but 214 South Michigan Avenue.
Yes.
Our curtains are always open, so you can peek inside, and there's a big Collective sign outside. So,
well, and I just love that you're in the two different spaces, that, you know, you have the photography, but you saw a need to be able to give back for those other photographers. And then I just love the idea of having that, like you said, that Goldilocks event space that for 20 to 40 people, it is so hard to find a space. So you're filling a great niche there.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. So.
Yes.
And then even on Monday nights, I have a recovery group that meets there every Monday, that I let them meet there for free. I saw somebody post on Facebook like, hey, we're looking for a Howell space to host this 12-step group. And I reached out and said,
come on over.
Yep, I'll set a code for you guys and you're welcome to the space every Monday night. So now, so you can't rent it on Monday night, but any other night of the week, you can probably find time to rent it.
Nice. Well, good for you. Thank you for all that you do for our community, for how you give back, for just what a fantastic job you're doing.
Well, I want to say thank you to you guys.
Aww.
Thank you for what you do for the community, and really giving us small businesses this platform means so much to us.
Thank you so much.
It's been a passion for us, and because this way our community can find out about them, and they don't have advertising budgets. They don't have publicity.
I listened to your podcast, and I found out about businesses through listening to you. Thanks. You know, even my next door neighbor, Retro Go-Go, I didn't know as much about them until I listened to the podcast you did with them.
It's been so much fun. So I'm glad you've had a chance to listen. And for all of our listeners out there, I hope that you've learned some great things and found out about Kelly and the Collective and Harper Photography today. And definitely she's a great one to contact and look that up. And we appreciate you coming today.
Yeah, so thank you to everyone out there. Please check out our podcast online. Like and subscribe it. Check out the YouTube if you want to actually watch us during the podcast. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
And welcome to Livingston.